NBC's program, Who Do You Think You Are?, is picking up steam, and why wouldn't it? The people who came before all of us and how they lived can be stranger than fiction. Our Tom Joles just found that out when Ancestry.com, the company that does the research for NBC's show, offered to look into his roots. And Tom, you found your roots go in a fascinating direction.
Did I ever, Nicole? There's no doubt where my mother's people came from. That would be Norway, high up in the mountains. They ended up in Wisconsin, hard-working dairy farmers, no secrets there. But on my dad's side, it's always been a dark, murky mystery.
I've researched lots of families, but I haven't experienced one quite like yours before.
I never got to know my dad's parents. Neither did he. His mother died during his birth. His dad, so distraught, committed suicide a few months later. Tied a 20-pound concrete block around his neck, jumped into the Wisconsin River. My father was raised by relatives. He rarely talked about them or his childhood. I provided the researchers at Ancestry.com some info about my dad's family, and they took it from there.
Some people, their parents didn't talk a lot about their family histories. Either they weren't interested in it, they felt ashamed of it, they didn't know a lot about it.
As a child, I remember thinking there was something odd about my dad's relatives.
Some of your family members were very transient.
That fits in a little with what my dad told me when I was a kid. He told me his relatives were Cherokee. They moved around a lot. It seemed like they made most of their money from selling herbs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They would travel around the country in the winter in warmer places and collect herbs, and then they'd come back and sell these herbs. And as a child, this seemed to be very weird. Now, Eyewitness News. It wasn't until I moved to Albuquerque and was in my mid-30s that I learned the truth about these transient people. My parents had come down to visit, and I was driving around town with my dad, and I said, "Isn't this great music?" And he asked me who it was, and I said, "It's the Gypsy Kings." And he paused, and then he turned to me, and he said, "Tom, I've got something I need to tell you." He spilled the beans. The Ancestry.com people confirmed it. So you in your research found out that Tom Joles on his father's side is
He is a gypsy, yes. So
I am a gypsy.
Yes, you are a gypsy descendant.
When Cher sang that song in the early 70s, I thought she was talking about a lifestyle. Gypsies are actually an ethnic group. It appears they started leaving northern India in the 11th century, working their way into the Middle East and Europe. They stuck to themselves, spoke their own language, and loved their music. Hitler hated them and exterminated as many as 500,000 gypsies. Even though many gypsies have assimilated, the group as a whole still has an image problem. Jerry Lindsay remembers her mother warning her about gypsies when she... Watch out for the gypsies.
Those are gypsies. They are really good at pickpocketing. Be careful.
No wonder my dad, who was a U.S. Marine and a firefighter, tried to protect us from that picture. My dad was ashamed of being a gypsy. My dad is one of the most decent men I've ever met. Incredibly honest, would never steal a thing. Well, the fact that I'm a gypsy may be a revelation to you. I've known it for about 20 years now. But what else Ancestry.com dug up absolutely blew me away. They went back, way back, to my great-great-great-grandfather. He was an Englishman who gave up his way of life to become the Gypsy King. We'll have that story tomorrow night at 10.
Now, your Pinpoint Forecast.
That's very interesting. Now, if we come back to the 3-shot later and Tom isn't sitting at the desk, he's moved on.